Hey guys, JamesMCD Reviews here, and just like that, we're here at the end of 2021, a year that can appropriately be referred to as the Cars 3 of years. Not perfect by any means, but when it's preceded by Cars 2, it's a fucking masterpiece. For me personally, 2021 was kind of an up and down year. I'm sure for a lot of people, it was definitely a recovery period from everything that happened last year. But we did start to take a few steps towards normalcy, and a lot of cool stuff happened for me personally. I finally got to take my girlfriend to Chicago. I got to collab with TTFT not once, but 3 times. And with movie theaters finally opening back up and all of the holdovers from last year finally came flooding in, I got to see and review a lot of movies this year. And as is tradition, as we close out this year and look forward into the future, it's time to talk about the worst and the best that 2021 has provided. If you guys have seen my other worst and best videos, I actually made a playlist of all the other videos from the previous year, so be sure to check that out. I'll leave that in the description. But for those of you who haven't seen them, just a quick refresher. This is my own personal opinion on what I feel are the best and worst movies of the year. I decided to include streaming movies and digital releases as well as theatrical releases. Anything that has the 2021 release banner on it is fair game for this list. There were a lot of movies that came out that I didn't see, so if you think that something is unfairly missing from this list, I'd love to hear your opinions and your own list down in the comments. And last year I nixed the honorable mentions category, but that was just because I hadn't seen enough movies for me to warrant putting in an honorable mention, but I wanted to bring it back this year just to make it like an unofficial top 11 list. So real quickly, let me give out my honorable mention for worst movie of the year. Space Jam: A New Legacy. Now, I didn't have the hate boner that the rest of the world had for this movie, but after sitting on it for a few months, yeah, I couldn't leave it off the list in some fashion. Like, amazingly, not only did it manage to be even more of a soulless corporate product than an already soulless corporate product, but it managed to do so with absolutely zero passion, which, say what you will about the first Space Jam, there was actual passion put into it. Now it's just up to all of us as humans to make it so that there isn't a Space Jam 3. Alright, with that out of the way, here are the top 10 worst movies of 2021. Locked Down. The past 2 years have seen a decent surge in pandemic movies. Movies that take place during COVID, use COVID as a major plot point, and or just mostly take place or are shot in self-isolation. And while I haven't seen all of these types of movies, this one on HBO Max is definitely one of the worst. Why is it that Marriage Story has been the only movie in recent memory to make a divorced couple interesting and engaging to watch? Anne Hathaway and Chiwetel Ejiofor have zero chemistry to them. Gun to my head, I couldn't tell you anything about them. Watching them argue and yell at each other is absolutely insufferable, which I get. The point is that you're locked in a house with someone you hate, but that doesn't make it any better. And then, for seemingly no reason, the third act turns into a heist movie. It makes no sense, it's way too long, and it's only the beginning for how terrible these movies get. Tom and Jerry. Much like Space Jam, this movie barely made it on the list. But ultimately, this ended up being almost more insulting because, unlike Space Jam, there seemed like real potential here. The animation on Tom and Jerry looks really good. I'm glad they went more cartoon accurate. I like that it's kind of like Roger Rabbit, where it's cartoony but it still blends into the background, helped by the fact that all the other animals are also animated. But, of course, this great animation has to take a backseat to uninteresting human characters. Chloe Grace Moretz weaseling her way into a hotel job. The evil Michael Pena hotel manager who doesn't get the joke. Preparing for a wedding where the bride is having second thoughts and everything goes wrong and oh god, shut up. Like, I get it, these types of plots were in the original show, but they were never the main focus. It's like someone watched a Tom and Jerry short and was like, you know what, I want to focus on the owner of the house. Fuck the cat and mouse trying to murder each other. It's annoying, it's not funny, and as close as it comes, it's not Tom and Jerry. And that's the biggest punch in the face of all. Hawaiian Threesome. I am more than willing to bet that none of you have even heard of this movie. It was a documentary on HBO Max about a couple in an open relationship documenting their sexcapades in the lead up to their wedding and the drama that follows. Not a bad premise for a movie, especially as a way to educate about open relationships and the pros and cons that come with them. And for a while, it does exactly that. We get to see this couple that do love each other freely explore their sexuality, no strings attached. But then in the second act, it kind of switches focus. The couple, mainly the wife, decides they want a polyamorous relationship when she finds a new boyfriend while on a business trip. That starts to complicate things. The husband brings in a new girl to kind of even the score in a sense. And while this makes for interesting drama, it does kind of take away from the main selling point of the film. But then at the end of the film, it kind of does a gotcha, which completely erases all goodwill that was left at this point. This kind of makes the whole thing seem pointless and insincere, whether or not it all actually happened. This is one where I'd almost recommend checking it out, just to get a consensus on it. I'm sure there's a mindset that makes this movie work, it's just going into it expecting what's in the trailer doesn't do any favors for it. Pig. I already did a quick review on this movie, so I won't go into too much detail, but aside from a solid performance by Cage, this movie is so dull. I never got invested in the character or his journey. After the pig was taken, I really stopped giving a shit. And the movie didn't do much to hold my attention. Apparently a lot of people actually liked this, which is great. Clearly they got something out of it that I just didn't. And who knows, maybe if I were to go back and watch it again, I'll get something new out of it. But at this moment, this was just exhausting. Finding Ohana. So imagine that Dora the Explorer movie from a few years ago with absolutely no self-awareness. This is literally just a copy-paste exotic kids adventure movie, complete with newly divorced parents, absentee uncle, bickering siblings, teenage love interest, dorky best friend, and a mystical treasure. The acting is right out of a Nickelodeon movie, the visual effects look straight out of the late 90s, there are a lot of strange musical cues, and overall, it was just a chore to get through. At least the Dora movie, despite having a lot of similar issues, acknowledged how stupid it was and used that to comedic effect. This movie was just stupid, and I would talk more about it, but I don't want to. Old. This movie is a weird case where it's simultaneously one of the worst movies and one of the best movies. Literally from the moment this movie starts, everything is bizarrely off. The acting is so stilted, the writing is overly explanatory and feels like a fourth grader wrote it. The cinematography and angles they choose are woefully off. And the story is so unbelievably batshit that it actually circles back around and becomes funny by the end. As bad as this movie is, goddamn was it entertaining. This was genuinely some of the most fun I've had at a bad movie in a while. There were several moments where I was watching with my jaw on the ground, laughing at inappropriate times, and probably got some concerned looks from my fellow audience members. But I'm sorry, this is one of the best unintentional comedies I've ever seen. This is one of the few instances where I'd recommend checking this out. This movie needs to be seen to be believed. But make no mistake, this is still a terrible movie. But as is the case every year, these next 4 movies are far, far worse. Music. Ooh, that was a big yikes for me. This is the directorial debut of Sia, and it kinda shows, because clearly the music video sections have much more effort put in than the actual movie. Where all the music video segments are colorful, very well staged and choreographed, even the songs aren't terrible, the rest of the movie looks bland, boring, and has way too much shaky cam. On top of that, for a movie called Music, it's ironically very tone deaf. This movie feels like it's 20 years old, like it's trying to be this artsy, Oscar-caliber film, but it doesn't have modern sensitivities in mind. Furthered by the director not really having any clue what she's even teaching here, which just makes the whole thing seem kind of offensive. Now there have been several members of the autism and atypical community that have done videos on how this movie woefully misrepresents autism, and they explain it better than I ever could, so I'm gonna leave some of my favorites down in the description. But the fact that she didn't even make an attempt to hire someone with autism to get an authentic portrayal, instead opting for Maddie Ziegler walking around doing derp face, makes this typical boring drama all the more uncomfortable to sit through. I feel like if you cut out the talking bits and left in the musical dance sequences, I feel like this movie would work a little bit better because the audience could interpret the meaning behind each scene, rather than having simple Jane over here take a backseat to her addiction-recovering savior of a sister, and Leslie Odom Jr. as the magical black neighbor, lecturing on how it's okay to restrain an autistic person when they have a freak out. Yes, that actually happens. Bottom line, I didn't mind Sia as an artist before, and I still don't. I just think she should keep to music videos and not do another movie until, you know, she can hire people that'll tell her no every once in a while. The Unholy. I think it's worth noting that I went to see this movie on Easter Sunday right after church, because quite frankly, that's the only appropriate day to see it. I was surprised at just how stacked this movie's cast was. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, William Sadler, Carrie Elways, these are people I did not expect to be in a movie like this. But what was not surprising was everything else. This movie is so fucking stupid. Everything happens strictly because it needs to. The characters make increasingly dumber decisions, the visual effects look 10 years old, it wasn't scary, it wasn't even that funny. The only thing that kinda saves this movie is the cast, but beyond that, this movie needs to go to confession and atone for its sins. Cherry. Well, that was unfortunate. How the hell did the Russo brothers go from directing the highest grossing movie of all time to one of the cheapest looking movies with one of the most confused fucking tones? I know this movie was based on a book that was also based on this guy's life, and I don't know how accurate the book is, but if I were the guy, I'd be kind of insulted. This movie takes serious issues like addiction, PTSD, and mental health, and showcases them through this weird, quirky, student film, almost kind of Wes Anderson lens, and it just doesn't fit. There are some genuinely strange directing choices that don't match the tone or the subject matter at all. And I'm just gonna say it, I think Tom Holland and Ciara Bravo are great actors, but they were not the right choice for this. I hate saying that they're too young because they're only a few years older than me, but they don't have adult faces or features, so it just feels like you're watching Peter Parker and the little sister from Big Time Rush robbing banks and shooting up heroin, and it's awkward. It also doesn't help that they really don't have that great of a connection. Even by the end of the movie, I don't feel like these two need to be together. Ultimately, Cherry was one of the worst movies I saw this year, and it almost made it to #1. But then, some narcissistic psychopath fell out of a tree and into the #1 spot. Dear Evan Hansen. Why hello again, you self-righteous piece of shit. Just following up on my letter from a few months ago. You have no idea how genuinely shocked I am that this is not only on the list, but in the top spot. I mean, I saw the trailers and I thought this would just be alright. Yeah, Ben Platt's age was kind of distracting, but I didn't think the rest of the movie looked bad. I didn't expect it to be, of all things, the angriest I got at a movie this year. But not only was it bad, but the more I sat with it and the more I looked into the musical after the fact, the more and more pissed I became. The individual cast members are fine, but none of them have any chemistry off each other. I tried to give Platt the benefit of the doubt in my initial video, but no, he really didn't fit, and the makeup they have on him makes it all the more unsettling. The story is poorly paced and full of plot holes. There's absolutely nothing interesting going on visually or editing wise. All the songs are terrible because they all sound like and every single character in this movie is a terrible person. Evan's mom is the typical absentee parent who only starts to pay attention to her mentally ill son when the plot needs her to. Connor's parents are pretty dumb and unsympathetic to the fact that their son just died. Jared is the asshole best friend who helps in Evan's scheme and then disappears for the rest of the movie. Alana basically doxes Connor's parents so that her fundraiser gains more traction and never faces any consequences for this. Connor is just a fucking doormat with no character at all. and Evan, regardless of his social anxiety, actively lies to this grieving family about being friends with their son so he can insert himself into their family and bang the dead kid's sister. And he also never faces any consequences or gets called out for being a sociopath. And the one song that does call him out for this, Good For You, is cut from the movie because Mark Platt said, "Fuck you all, my son is perfect and you will never be!" This movie, much like Evan himself, is so caught up in its own ego that it forgot that it needed to be about something. It uses all these buzzwords like mental illness, social anxiety, and suicidal depression to get a conversation started, but that's all they really are. Buzzwords and plot elements. There's no message, there's no moral, there's no big takeaway. This movie quite literally has nothing to share, it has nothing to say. But you know what I say? Dear Evan Hansen is hands down the worst movie of 2021. Whew. Okay. I think I need to give my voice a break. That's my list for the top 10 worst movies of 2021. What did you guys think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What were your least favorite movies of this year? Let me know down in the comments. I need a drink. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until next time, be sure to like, subscribe, ring the notification bell so you can stay up to date on when I'm posting. Follow me on all my social media, subscribe to my main channel. Everything you need to know will be in the description. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you later.